Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be giving you my preview and analysis of the 2016 NBA Eastern Conference Finals, which pits the Toronto Raptors against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, this could have the makings of a very good series. It's very interesting because Cleveland, of course, comes off two sweeps in their first two rounds. They emerged victorious in both series in 8 games combined, the quickest, of course, possible manner. I mean, 8 games is the minimum to do this in as far as the first two rounds go. And Toronto has struggled. Okay, they did win both series, but they took 7 games in both series. They played 14 games in the postseason as opposed to the Cavaliers playing 8. Cavaliers are going to be very well rested, and really the Toronto Raptors played a very grueling series in both of them and against Miami. I'm a little surprised that Miami pushed Toronto to the brink, but they did. And the thing about this is, okay, during the regular season, the disparity between these two teams. There's really not much difference in as far as the main numbers. Now, if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers averaged 104.3 points per game during the regular season. Toronto averaged 102.7. The Cleveland Cavaliers in rebounds average 44.5 rebounds per game during the regular season, and the Toronto Raptors average 43.4 rebounds per game during the regular season. Now, in the points per game against, the Cavaliers gave up 98.3 points per game on average, while the Toronto Raptors gave up 98.2 points per game on average. So these teams are very close from a statistical standpoint. The Cavaliers, of course, do have LeBron James, and the three big players on the Cleveland Cavaliers, okay, LeBron James and point guard Kyrie Irving and power forward Kevin Love have been on a tear right now. Kyrie Irving is averaging in the postseason 24.4 points per game, and it's up about 5 points from his regular season average. And Kevin Love is averaging 12.5 rebounds per game, which is up about 2.5 from his regular season average. So these players are coming on strong. They're in full throttle right now. And the thing about this is, too, if history means anything, LeBron James teams are 17-0, went up 2-0 in a series. And it's funny thing with the Toronto Raptors, they are notoriously for starting series very poorly. The Toronto Raptors in their last 4 postseason series have lost their first game. And the first game is going to be at Cleveland. Cleveland does have the home field advantage in this series. It's interesting, though, is that Toronto has played Cleveland well over the last 2 seasons. They are 3-3 against each other during the last 2 seasons. And Toronto actually took 2 out of 3 from the Cleveland Cavaliers during this regular season. One game Cleveland annihilated Toronto 122-100. The other 2 games were tight, and Toronto beat Cleveland by a combined 6 points in those 2 games. One of them was 99-97. The other was 103-99, and both were at Toronto. Cleveland got that one when they beat them 122-100 at home. So I think that this home field advantage is going to play dividends for Cleveland in this series. I know both teams won their first 2 postseason series, but Cleveland has been playing, I think, much better than Toronto during the postseason. As far as Cleveland goes, they've been on a 3-point rampage. They've had a phenomenal 3-point run during the postseason. They're averaging 16.8 3-pointers made per game right now. And this is obviously, I mean, you're talking about fundamentally sound basketball. And the Cleveland Cavaliers are only averaging 10.9 turnovers per game. So they are playing really taking care of the basketball well. And for Toronto, you look at them, and DeMar DeRozan is going to have to keep playing well. I mean, he is not. He has played pretty well during this postseason. And another factor is that the center Jonas Valanciunas. I don't know if I'm saying the name right. Anyway, he is going to. I mean, I don't know if what his status is going to be for the series against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if he's out for at least part of the series, this could obviously factor in strongly in terms of perhaps their fortunes against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, they have a center who's filled in, Bismack Bayam, and he had 19 rebounds combined in games 4 and 5 versus the Heat. So he in Jonas's absence, but will he be if he has to play against the Cleveland Cavaliers? Will he be able to keep that up? And important thing to remember too is that okay, Toronto may have taken 2 out of 3 from the Cleveland Cavaliers during the regular season. However, keep in mind that Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, dominated Cleveland during the regular season. They took 3 of 4 from the Cavaliers, but what happens? The Cleveland Cavaliers managed to sweep Detroit in the postseason. I don't think this is going to be a sweep. Toronto has Kyle Lowry. His average through the first 13 games of that postseason, 17.4 points per game, which was about 4 points per game lower than his regular season average. So he's going to have to step it up without a doubt if they are going to have any chance of beating Cleveland. Now, as far as this series goes, I don't think Cleveland's going to sweep Toronto. I think they're going to win the series. I have Cleveland winning it in 6 over Toronto, and that is my prediction for this series. I think it's too much. It's going to be too much Kyrie Irving, too much LeBron James, too much Kevin Love. These 3 players are obviously playing at very high level right now and right when they need to. I call LeBron James Mr. Ubiquitous. He could play virtually any position. He could fill in a pinch if somebody is not playing well at one position, and he could do just about everything on this basketball court. And I think really it's going to be about the experience that LeBron has in the postseason and I think that's really going to be the strong X factor in this series. And I do like Cleveland again to win this Eastern Conference Finals against the Toronto Raptors. I like them to win it 4-2, of course, in 6 games. Well, anyway, people, this is Edwin Learnard. Until next time, stay well.